Okay, in this homework assignment, I am going to manage Calvin's budget, and what I'm going to leave you to do, starting on page 3, I have a second budget for Jasmine, and I'm going to let you manage Jasmine's budget. Obviously, there will be a slightly different scenario and different values for each scenario, but if you can follow this video, you should be able to apply everything that you see me do to Jasmine's budget. So let's go ahead and get started. I have Calvin as a college kid who works at a local hardware store. He has been working at this store for 3 years. Over the years, Calvin has proven himself to be a hard worker, and his hard work has paid off. He has started his job making $8 an hour. It is company policy to give every employee a 15% raise after they have worked with the company for 6 months. In his second year, a customer told Calvin's boss how helpful that Calvin was, and Calvin's boss gave Calvin a 20% raise right on the spot. So when I pick this out, he starts at $8 an hour. He's been there 3 years, so he definitely got the 15% raise after 6 months. And then he got an additional 20% raise after his second year. And then question number 1 is asking how much does Calvin currently make per hour? And we're going to round all of these values to the nearest cent. So if we're trying to calculate his current pay, we need to figure out what he started with. And what I want you to do is calculate each raise at a time. You don't want to do these both at the same time. So after 6 months, he got a 15% raise. And the way I'm going to figure this out is I'm going to figure out what is 15% of $8. If I wanted to figure out 15% of $8, I first turn 15 into a decimal, so 0.15, and I'm going to multiply that by $8, and that would give me 1.2, and I'm doing all of this work in my calculator, so I'm not going to show you that. That's off to the side. But when we see 1.2 and we know we're talking about money, that's going to be $1.20. That's how much of a raise he got. That was a 15% raise. That's going to go on top of his $8, so I want to add that to the $8 that he was already making, and that gives me a total of $9.20 per hour. So after he got that original 15% raise, he was making a $9.20 salary per hour. He then got an additional 20% raise. So to calculate that, I'm going to multiply this. So it's kind of like a new problem here. I'm going to multiply this by 0.20. 20% as a decimal would be 0.20. 9.2 times 0.20 gives me 1.84, which was $1.84. And once again, I want to add that to what he was already making. So I'm going to add that to $9.20. And if you add those two together, 184 plus 920, you will get pause my video there. $11.04 per hour. So that's how much he is currently making per hour. That would be the answer for my number 1 for Calvin. Let's continue. So I have Calvin is going to school to get his degree in business. He really wants to become manager of the hardware store, but the position requires a 4-year degree. Since the owner of the business knows Calvin is in school, he lets Calvin choose his own schedule. Between classes and studying, Calvin works 22 hours the week during the weekdays, and every other week he works an extra 8 hours. So he works 22 hours during the weekdays, and every other week he works an extra 8 hours on Saturday. This means Calvin works 22 hours one week and 30 hours the next week. So we know how often Calvin is working. Question 2 asks, what is Calvin's monthly gross pay? Assume that 4 weeks is equal to 1 month. So if he works 22 hours one week, he works 30 hours the next week, that would be week 2. He works 22 hours week 3, and then he'll work 30 hours week 4. So if we add all of those up, we get 104 hours per month. So the question didn't ask how many hours is Calvin working. The question asked how much money is Calvin making per week. And I use this term gross pay. I'll pause right here and talk about gross pay. Gross pay is before any deductions. So no taxes taken out, no insurance taken out, nothing like that. So that would be gross pay pre-deduction, and that's what we're going to calculate here. I could set this up with the dimensional analysis. I'm going to do it just for this one problem. You don't have to use dimensional analysis for this, but if you want to, you can. So we know that Calvin's working 104 hours per, it was supposed to be hours, per month. And we know that he's making up here, he's making $11.04 per 1 hour. So my hours have canceled, and then I would just multiply across the top. 104 times 11.04 is 1148.16. That's how much Calvin is going to make per month. So that was going to be per month. Let's erase this and make that per month. So that is Calvin's gross monthly pay, $1,148.16 per month. All right, and you could have just taken 104 and multiplied it by what he makes per hour. Essentially, that's all I did up top here. I just wanted to show you that what we learned in the previous homeworks, dimensional analysis, is essentially all we're doing here. It's just sometimes the calculations are kind of easy that we don't need to apply the entire dimensional analysis. All right, so kind of wrote over this, so let's erase this. So the next part is going to be just you going to a website. So I'm going to ask you to go to a website to find how much Calvin takes home every monthly paycheck. So he gets paid every month. This website gives an estimate of taxes and other deductions from a normal paycheck. Calvin is currently not married, so these are important things that we're going to have to enter. He's not married, and he has no allowances. He's also living in the state of North Carolina. So what I'm going to ask you to do is click on this link. So let's see if I can click on it. Let's click on this link. It's going to take you to this website. I've already gone to this website once, so I have to click start a new calculation, but I think it's going to take you to this website. And what we want to do is we want to use the free calculator right here. So you're going to follow my steps in this video, and we're going to use a salary calculator. You can leave the start date fine, but we do know that Calvin was working in North Carolina. So I'm going to choose North Carolina for my state. This will help calculate his state taxes. The start date, whatever day it is that you do your assignment, you can leave the start date. His gross pay was, and I have this in my calculator, 1148.16. That's how much we calculated for the gross pay. But that was not an annual payment. That was a monthly payment. So I want to change this to per pay period and monthly. And then I said that Calvin was not married, so he's single. He had no allowances, so we're going to leave all of this the same. He doesn't have any deductions or anything like that, no dependents. And then we just essentially scroll all the way to the bottom and click calculate, and this will give us Calvin's net pay. So some things that they take out are federal withholdings, that's your federal taxes, he has 0. Social Security, he pays $71.19 per month. Medicare, he would pay into that $16.65 per month. And state withholdings, he would pay $4 per month. So he started with $1,148.16. And after they have taken out those deductions, he has $1,056.32. $1,056.32. So that would be the answer here. $1,056.32 is how much he will take home in his monthly paychecks. All right, so that's his monthly paycheck. Number 4 asks, how much take-home pay does Calvin make per hour? So once again, you could do this dimensional analysis, or just a simple way of thinking of this, he works 104 hours a week. So if we did 105.6.32 divided by how much he works per month, and I think I said per week, but if we divide it by per month, we get, I'm going to round this to the nearest cent, $10.16. $10.16 per hour. So we never speak of our salary in terms of our net pay, but our net pay actually has a more impact on our budget than our gross pay. So for instance, if I can scroll back up, Calvin, his gross pay was $11.04 per hour, but he doesn't see $11.04 per hour on his paycheck. When he gets his paycheck is at the rate of $10.16 per hour because there have been deductions taken out. All right, so I'm going to move on. Now that we know how much money Calvin has to spend, let's make sure that he is not spending more money than he brings in. He has often asked his parents for money, but after this month, his dad said that he would continue to pay for his school, his car, and his phone bill, but he would not give Calvin any more money. So his dad is going to continue paying for his school, car, and phone bill, so Calvin won't have to pay for that, but Calvin has to pay for everything else. So Calvin did some figuring and came up with his normal monthly expenses. So notice that this is monthly, and we're going to assume that 1 month is 4 weeks, but some of these aren't listed as monthly. So let's look at his rent. His rent is $450. That would be a monthly expense, and on yours I'll list them monthly or not. His internet and cable was $50. His portion of it, at least, he's going to be splitting this with his roommates. So his portion was $50 per month. His utilities, his portion is $60 per month. And then his gas, notice about this one, his gas is set up for weekly, which means it's not monthly, but we are assuming that there are 4 weeks in a month. And then his groceries, $180, and that was a monthly fee too. All right, so the only thing that we have to do is calculate what his gas is going to be for monthly. So anytime I'm calculating a monthly budget, if I have any expense that's not a monthly or not in the monthly form, I want to grab those expenses and turn them into monthly expenses. So I would kind of just pull this gas off to the side, and I have, okay, if this is $15 per week, and I know there are 4 weeks in a month, I need to multiply that by 4, and that gives me $60. So his gas is $60 per month, right? That's going to be his gas. So I know his expenses. And question 5 says, does Calvin bring home enough money to cover what he calculated his monthly expenses to be? So now we need to add up all of this. So I have everything in terms of monthly. So 450 plus 50 plus 60 plus this 60 plus 180, 450 plus 50 plus 60 plus 60 plus 180. I'm getting $800 for his monthly expenses. Right? $800 for his monthly expenses. And he was making, or bringing home at least, not making, but bringing home $1,148.16. So the answer to this would be yes. So he is making enough money to cover his expenses. All right. So after question 5, we continue. This says, Calvin did a pretty good job coming up with his major monthly expenses, but he did forget some little things. And it's often the little things that we forget that have a huge impact of our budgets. So when you're trying to calculate your own budget ever, make sure you don't forget the little things. So here are some little things that Calvin forgot. Every Monday and Wednesday, Calvin has class on the side of campus by the grill. He gets a chicken wrap and a drink for $5.20 after tax. I'm going to go ahead and calculate each one of these separately before I move on to the next bullet. So he does this 2 days a week, and it costs him $5.20 each day. So it's $5.20, and he's doing that 2 days a week. And there are also 4 weeks in a month. So if I want to calculate his monthly expenses, I would do $5.20 times 2 times 4, and that gives me $41.60 per month. Once again, I'm going to calculate all of these as monthly because that's the way I'm doing his budget. All right, so that was a price per day, right, per Monday and per Wednesday. So I knew that that was 2 days a week and that there were 4 days a week in a month. Once again, I could do this using dimensional analysis, but I'm just going to kind of simplify it down to just using the numerical values. All right, before his night class on Wednesday, so this time it's only 1 day a week, he swings by the campus store and gets an energy drink that costs $3.20 after tax. So this time he's only doing this 1 day a week, but there are 4 weeks in a month, so $3.20 times 4 is going to give me $12.80 per month is what he spends on the energy drink. He goes into work early on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so he stops at the local store to get a coffee. Their coffee is not that good, but it only costs $2.15 after tax. So this one he's going to be doing 2 days a week. We're starting with $2.15 per coffee. He does that 2 days a week, and there are 4 weeks in a month. So 215 times 2 times 4 gives me $17.20 per month. On Thursday night, he and his roommate usually go out and watch the football game at a local restaurant. Calvin always orders chicken wings that are on sale on Thursdays. He gets 10 wings for $6.50. He drinks water but leaves the waitress that he thinks is cute a $4 tip. So I'm going to go ahead and add this $6.50 and $4. His bill after tax is $10.50. He only does that on Thursday nights, and there are 4 weeks in a month, so 4 Thursdays in a month. So that's going to be $42. And I'm going to type that in the calculator just to make sure I did it right in my head. Yep, $42. Okay, so these are the small things that Calvin forgot about when he was calculating his budget. So let's see. Number 6 is finally asking us to create a monthly expense chart. Assume 1 month is 4 weeks. I kind of did all the work up here, so now all I'm going to do is plug these in. The grill was $41.60, so $41.60. The energy drink was $12.80 a month. The coffee was $17.20 a month, and the chicken wings and the tip were $42 a month. So now I'm going to add all of that up. So I'm grabbing my calculator, just going down the list. 450 plus 50 plus 60 plus 60 plus 180 plus 41.60 plus 12.80 plus 17.20 plus 42. 900, I'm going to write it off to the side. $913.60. So that would be his total. So for number 6, I want you to come up with that total of adding up all the new expenses. Once again, you'll have Jasmine, not Calvin. And then 7 asks, with these additional expenses, does Calvin still bring home enough money to cover his monthly expenses? So I'm going to scroll back. This is $913.60. And Calvin was making, or he was bringing home at least, $1,056. That was his net pay. All right, so he does clear enough money. So the answer there is yes. Do you think that Calvin would be able to afford his own car payment? So his net pay, once again, was, scroll back up, I keep forgetting it, $1,056. So his net pay was roughly $1,056. That was roughly. So if I add a car payment to this, he's got an extra $100 per month. So depending on what his car costs, there could be a car payment, but a car payment and a cell phone bill for $100 a month, I'm going to say no to that. And if you want to do some research and find out a car payment that is cheaper and a monthly cell phone payment that would fit, you can tell me yes, but I'm going to say no. And if not, are there some things that Calvin can do to save or obtain more money? If he does what you suggest, how much extra money would he have each month? Write this in full sentences. I'm going to talk about this, but I'll leave this for you to do. Some things that he could do would be cut out the wings, and I told y'all to write in full sentences, but I'm not. So he could cut out the wings. He could cut out the coffee. So anything that is not a must-have, he could cut that out. Things like cutting out his rent, obviously he can't do. Could cut out his internet payment if he doesn't need the internet for school. But if he needs the internet for school, then that would have to be something that he would have to have. So just come up with some suggestions of things he could do, redo the calculations, and then tell me how much extra money he would have. Because right now it looks like he has roughly $100. I'll do this really fast. This is me rounding a whole bunch, but he has roughly $140 extra each month. So how much money would he need in order to afford a car payment and a phone bill? And you can come up with what you think a car payment and a phone bill may cost. And if you want to look that up on the internet, you can. But I'm going to end the video there. I did Calvin. Your job is going to be to do the same thing with Jasmine. You can walk through the steps. You can go back to my video. Like I said, the scenarios are going to be pretty different, but the questions here should almost be identical to the same questions I answered them and in the same order.